Hard working, dedicated, would like to dedicate this to those who never hate it. Can't none hold us down, can always go another round. Welcome to the underground, real sports with real sports guys.
Well, we're off and running here at the 2024 Maui Invitational. We just had the coaches press conference. That's always a treat because you have an opportunity to hear the coaches talk about where they are at this point in the season. You have, our guy Katz out here doing the kind of the moderator for the press conference. And then you get a chance to see the coaches connect with the young people who are from Maui, they do the free throw shooting. You figure out who can shoot, who can't. We might be able to talk about that as well. And then we get a chance to have intimate conversations. So I love this morning in the way it kicks off, and especially the fact that we're back in Lahaina, which just feels different. Joy and I were just talking about that. We try to share this with Coach Cecil for all the folks who've been following us about the difference between being here and on Oahu. It feels like we're home and family. Joy, what was it like this morning walking in here after we haven't been back here in a couple of years? That it just felt different. We're hugging people and everything else.
Even Cecil was like, "Whoa, it's different." Yeah, it's amazing. Just the welcoming party. We had this at Oahu, but different, just different. It's much more welcoming and more intimate on Maui.
And Coach, I've been telling you it was going to be different coming in here, and we kind of walked in, and just how's it been here, just in your first morning here at the Maui Invitational, actually on Maui?
Well, it feels like this is a place where the tournament should be. Mm-hmm. I think that's the vibe I get from all the people here, is that this is our tournament. We want to make you feel welcome. We want to make you feel a part of our community. And you get that right from the beginning. We walked through the door, and the receptionist lady was hugging on Lahua and hugging on Joy, and how are you, and where and you figure that's a whole year, 2 years before, and they still remember. Okay, and just to feel, you could tell Andy. I remember last year, Andy was still more comfortable this year. Yeah. Okay, and what he was doing this year as compared to last year. I think everybody just believes that this is a place for it to be, and there's a lot of energy behind that.
And what makes this tournament special is a star-studded field. When you look at it, we got Memphis, you got Penny Hardaway and Memphis program here. You got the number 2 UConn and what they're looking at in Dan Hurley. We'll talk about Dan Hurley, always stunting. We'll talk about that as well. You got Colorado, who's really built a good program, but they're trying to rebound a little bit because there's some folks who went on to the league. You got Michigan State, and Coach Izzo is like a treasure. I'm from Ann Arbor, Michigan. I grew up a Wolverine, but there's something about Coach Izzo that he just warms my heart every time I connect with him. I got to give him love. And you got number 4, Auburn in the building, and we always like that. And Bruce Pearl, one thing I'll say about Bruce Pearl, there's a lot of times when you're a little injured like us, you walk around, sometimes Coach will stun on you. Joe, that we've been around. Bruce doesn't. Bruce just leans in and loves you. And so it's good to be around him. He's got a good team coming in. We got Iowa State. Iowa State's a sticky program, always been there. They are going, they're going to be tough and gritty. And then Dayton, have Coach Grant come back. His second, you can see him much more comfortable. He's built a program. They got a legacy. They're one of the few teams in the league, in the tournament that's won it before in terms of their program. Mm-hmm. And then you got North Carolina. Now I know Joy is smiling. You got Carolina. Last time we were supposed to go to Carolina, we had the pandemic. And with the pandemic, and then they had to do it in Asheville, we couldn't really go and do it. But now they're here, and we had a chance. So it's a great field. Cecil, I'll talk with you. What did you hear, as a coach? They were asking a number of questions, but what were some things that stood out when Andy was interviewing the coaches early on?
Well, obviously, one of the biggest things is how are these coaches are navigating and thinking about their teams from year to year. Mm-hmm. Like one of the coaches pointed out, you don't have that same team coming back. You don't have that, this is what we can expect this year. To a person, they all were saying that this is a new team. That we're starting basically from scratch in terms of how we're building the team and how we're building our units. And so that was universal all the way across. And that makes sense because that was a question we've had before, talking about how do you deal with the changes that have gone on in the league and still create teams that will eventually be family, that will eventually know each other, can eventually trust one another. And they're all talking about that and probably using this tournament for one of those things to help them figure that out.
Yes.
Okay, yes. As far as, where are we? How far are we? What do we have to do?
Yes. And we kind of, as we broke out and had a chance to talk to the coaches, at their tables. I know you had a chance. I know you were over in Carolina a little bit and trying to hear a little bit of what was going on there. What did you hear in some of the coaches you heard when you were spending time today?
They want to win. This is a business trip. It's not a fun trip.
It's a business trip. That's right.
QB said this is up because one of the other media asked, like, do you guys have some fun activities scheduled? He was like, no, nothing planned. He said, this is a business trip. I said, what is one of your goals about 3 games in 3 days? He said, win. I said, okay. But that seems to be the theme. Like, all of these teams are not scared. 3 games in 3 days, they just want to win. They don't care at all costs, you know. They want to win.
It was interesting. I had a chance to talk to Coach Izzo about that, and I framed it like, you know, all the coaches want to win, but if you wake up on Thursday morning, what do you want to know about your team? And it was really around effort. Mm-hmm. He was like, did they? See, the coaches are going to learn from game to game, but did the players learn and adjust from game to game? Which is a really important thing, you know.
Because it's a short turnaround.
It's a short turnaround. You have a lot of time to do practice and prepare.
Pre-game.
Can they through mental models learn, and are you seeing that improvement from game to game, them making adjustments?
Well,
I thought that was a really good
and
observation.
And the physical recovery as well, because you ain't got no break.
No.
I mean, if you got the last game and you lose, you playing early the next day.
Yeah.
So that recovery alone is not just the mental, it's the physical.
Yeah. Now let's talk about the stunner. Dan hurt. So you got to picture this. We might have it in video, you know. Everybody's sitting there. They all got their, you know, their typical gear for the Maui Invitational. I see Coach Hurley. He looked like he kind of agitated. He kept looking back and talked to somebody. And then next time I know around, he got a hat on, and he got the Final Four hat on.
Okay, to be honest, I was amazed that it wasn't the championship hat on.
Yeah, he didn't want to stunt too hard.
He didn't want to.
He didn't want to put all the way
too hard. Right.
But I mean, you're a coach, man. Now, what does that feel like? You're sitting up here. We all trying to, because this is usually the most collegial part of the space. Everybody's sparing each other. Yeah. Hurley is always competing.
Hey, Hurley's sending a message. He's sending a message. He's saying, y'all gonna have to get me.
Yes.
Y'all gonna have to come and get me. He's just putting it out there. He's not ashamed of it. And like you said, the thing about it is, you know, he didn't put his hat on, you know, kind of nice. He put that bad boy to the side.
He put it on like he was Jersey.
Yes,
like he was like he had been hanging out in Jersey.
This is me.
Yeah,
this is us. I don't care what everything we said here.
Yeah.
This is where you gotta get.
I got Red Man on speed dial. I'm just letting y'all know that.
The funny thing is, actions speak louder than words.
Yeah.
And that was a classic example because his words were, "We're not picking it up from last year. This is a new team. We don't know where we're at." But then after he said that, boom.
In other words, we may be new, but we're still UConn.
Yeah. We do. This standard is a standard, and I think that's one of the things you see with all these great programs. Even in this, one of the things that Izzo said that, you know, he doesn't believe that you have to re-recruit players. Mm-hmm. He said, you know, you have to. It's about values. Because, you know, last time he was here, you know, Cassius Winston was going through incredible stuff. I asked him about that, and and I said what I saw from him is the way that, the way in which he valued players and their family. Remember, he had his family come over. They tried to create normalcy, and when we talked about what's happening with Lahaina when he drove through in what it meant to have an effect, and I think this goes into his program around values, is that he said, you know, people always say, I know what you're going through. No one knows what you're going through, but what you can try to do is create a sense of normalcy. And when you're investing in young people and they know that you care, you know, when you have people like Draymond Green who come back all the time, you have people like Magic who come back, like people, it's authentic. People
Carolina's the same way.
So you see that trend across these players. UConn is the same way. Mm-hmm. There's something about their culture that they don't have that turnover in their roster so much, right? Because there's something there that they have value. Even in this day and age, you sense that with these coaches. And I don't know if you sense that.
I did, but I also, and this is what I like about Izzo too, he doesn't fool himself.
Yeah.
I also heard a little bit of his concern about that. You know, as he said, that we'll see how things go in the future.
Yeah.
But because he does, I think he has some concerns. It hasn't affected him yet, maybe, but I think he has some concerns about it, and I think that's valid for him to think about that. You know, what is going to come down the line here, even more so for this. But for right now, definitely, you know, we still have the same values that we had. We're still the same mentality that we have. We still have the same way of preparing ourselves for games the way we've always done. But there's some things that are out there that we have to think about, but not today.
Yeah.
Today, this weekend is about getting us ready for this season.
Yeah. Well, what are y'all looking forward to? I guess I asked each of y'all. Like now we sitting here looking at it. What are you looking forward to seeing
Are you
this week?
serious?
I
You know what
I know
I'm
what you. I know.
looking
Well,
forward
you
to.
gotta say. Let the people know, Joy.
I am looking forward to be up and close watching Carolina instead of only on TV.
What are you looking forward to, Coach?
I tell you, there is an intensity here. I'm looking forward to the games. I think we are going to see some dog fight, getting after it basketball because they're trying to find themselves. The players are trying to find themselves too. Okay, where am I going to be in the rotation? And so I think that, and I think these coaches love it. I think they love the idea that this tournament is going to get them ready to compete because of where they're at right now.
Oh, definitely. That's why majority of them don't care that they come all the way to Hawaii. Because DeVon talks about it all the time, how it's a check meter. Those 3 days, we're going to see where we're at, whether we like it or not.
Right, he checked.
In our history of doing this, teams have come out here and we've seen them in the tournament. And I always say that part of their success started here. When we think about Dayton and Obi and the way that they got confidence in the environment, if they would have had a tournament that year, that was a team that was going to go to the Final Four.
Right.
But they got the confidence in this environment because it's such a pressure cooker. What I'm looking forward to, Joy, you'll love this because you've been doing it for a little bit, is the first coach. See, I always talk about the players. What I'm looking forward to is the first coach that loses their cool. Everybody cool right now. Everybody cool right now.
Because they 0-2.
I'm looking forward to that Tuesday morning when they ain't cool no more.
Oh, yeah.
That Tuesday night when they ain't cool no more. They like everybody like this, but it's real. It's real because somebody might go 0-3. But that's different because Sean and I are usually up here. But you got some top teams here, and somebody gonna lose all their games.
Yep.
And I want to see how they handle that smoke. We've been at Maui when people didn't show up to a press conference. Some of the people that everybody loved these coaches, but when it got tight, they didn't even show up to the podium, or they showed up and didn't want to say anything. I want to see that moment because we got a whole bunch of coaches up here. These coaches and their teams, these are the kind of teams that run to the smoke. When you talk about Coach Grant and Dayton, he got that kind of thing. They run the smoke. They don't duck anybody. Nobody wants to come play them, and they ready to go play everybody. Carolina got that thing. You could tell they got that kind of stuff. You know what UConn got. You know that. Michigan State, he plays tough schedules every year. He don't care about the smoke.
Bruce Pearl gonna run to the smoke when there ain't no smoke.
He gonna create the smoke. He gonna create the smoke. So I'm looking for that moment because there's something about this. You got this great field, but somebody can leave here 0-3. And it doesn't mean they're gonna be a bad team. They can leave here 0-3 and still make the tournament. And so that's what I'm looking for. I'm like, who cracks? Who knows how to manage pressure? Who knows how to manage disappointment? I learned a lot being in this environment, seeing those things. So hey, y'all, hang with us. Be on this. We're on the road with RSG. We're here at Maui. We do this. We do it live. We do it right. We'll have fun with it. We'll bring you into what's happening here, and we'll see you on the side.
Go ahead, UNC. Tar Heels.
Hard working, dedicated, would like to.